morning, everybody. My name is Chad Canty. I'm here with Ben Ross, and today we're going to talk to you a lot about the New York Knicks, including potential trades, offseason acquisitions, potential draft picks, and what can they do with their current roster. Following that, we have Austin Rivers, who is now, believe it or not, playing under coach and also father, Doc Rivers. And at the end, we have a little history stint for you. And now over to you, Ben.
All right, today we're going to start off with these Knicks players who are not doing so great. Although we do have three nice Knicks players that are doing okay. We have our Carmelo Anthony, who is averaging 23.9 points a game and is the only player over 15 points a game on that team. The other two players who are in double figures for scoring are Tim Hardaway Jr. at 11 points a game and Amari Stoudemire at 13.1 points a game. What's your take on this, Chad?
Well, it is true that their scoring isn't that great, but the scoring is not the only thing that's lacking here when their team leader in assists is Jose Calderon at 4.4. And who comes second to that? Carmelo Anthony at 3.1. You need to pass the ball in order to win. Looking at rebounds, not bad. A lot of them are averaging 5, 6. Team leaders, Stoudemire at 7.2. A lot of people could say that their scoring is bad, but when you're looking at everything in a whole, it's not just scoring that's killing them. It's the lack of passing, the lack of rebounding, their poor shooting percentages, and also scoring. They could be doing a lot of things better right now, and that's what they're trying to do by trading basically their entire roster minus Carmelo Anthony. Ben?
Yeah, it does look that way with right now Calderon and Bargnani on huge trading blocks right now. They're just trying to strip their roster clean and start over, it looks like, with Melo as their center. And at this time in Melo's career, I honestly think that Melo's sort of like LeBron James, where they're doing really well right now, but they've been in this league for 10 years now. And that puts them up there in age. And it also could have a little bit of an impact on their performance, but I highly doubt that will impact his performance, and he'll still be a center for a team for a while, but he doesn't have 10 more years left in that tank to keep going. Talking about trades, with Calderon especially, he's on trade rumors that could sky anywhere from Houston, Sacramento, Detroit, the Lakers, and even in Miami seem to have interest in him. Some teams that you really want to keep an eye out for there. It does seem like Sacramento would be a nice spot for him, but do they really need another point guard behind Collison with him doing so well right now? Houston I can see with them just really having James Harden, and I don't know how well their backcourt is, but I could say that the Houston would be a good fit for Calderon. Detroit always questions me because you put Calderon and a pretty nice team of Detroit, which is actually starting to do really well, especially since getting rid of Josh Smith. The Lakers could use a point guard.
The Lakers really could use a point guard. They were in that mix for Rondo, trying to trade injured Steve Nash and those 2 first-round picks. That didn't pan out so well, and now they're looking for a new man. And I think Calderon may be that guy. Is he going to make a huge impact on the Lakers? No. Is he going to bring them to the playoffs? No. But he is something to start with. Your Kobe Bryant era is ending. You need a new centerpiece. You need new role players, and bringing him in at this specific situation that they're in may be a good idea.
And Linsanity right now, is he really that point guard you want to rely on?
Linsanity was a once-in-a-lifetime thing. He was good for that stretch of time. And once he's made his mark and he's like, okay, I get it, he kind of gave up there. That's not a kind of attitude you want from a player. And that is why he is the backup point guard to Price right now. He's not playing at the level he should and is capable of. Bring in Calderon would solve that. He's a very consistent player. You're guaranteed double-digit points, close to 7 assists with him on the court. Add that to Kobe and Ed Davis as well, doing very well this season, and also a former teammate of Calderon back on the Raptors.
Also looking at Andrea Bargnani right now, they're trying to consider trading him, and if they can't find a trade, then they're considering buying him out. I honestly don't think that that's a very smart idea. They This is his last year in his contract, and buying him out now really doesn't seem like much of a point. It would be more of a strip, and you're still paying him till the end of his the rest of his contract. But I don't see there's a point in him getting bought out with half the season pretty much already over.
There really isn't a point to that. Andrea Bargnani was a bust. He was okay in Toronto. Things didn't pan out. He got injured. Didn't work. Gets traded to New York. Barely plays. He has 1 year left on his contract. Don't buy him out. He has less than 50 games left with you. Just leave it expire. The same with Amari Stoudemire. Believe it or not, the Knicks are also looking to buy him out. And again, he's an unrestricted free agent at the end of the season. Just leave him go. Combined, they're making like $35 million just between the two of them. Why buy that out when it's done at the end of the year?
Don't start rebuilding 100% now. Keep some of your expiring contracts. Let them expire at the end of the year. Pick up a bunch of fresh guys in the summer.
Speaking of fresh guys, who do we got, Ben? Who's on your list?
For who they should go after?
Yeah. Who do you think the Knicks are going to go after in free agency?
I'm thinking if they're going to go after anybody, they're going to go after some sort of a guard or some sort of a big man. And these are the names that I'm considering. One is Wesley Matthews, Gerald Green, Reggie Jackson, Carlos Boozer, Josh Smith, and Rajon Rondo.
All good players. I'm going to go a little off the board here. The Knicks are looking for a big run. They're looking for it. They're going to rebuild this year. They're going for that good draft pick. And they're going to start by building a team. So when you look at who is a free agent, potentially, LaMarcus Aldridge, Marc Gasol, Tyson Chandler, Rajon Rondo, DeAndre Jordan, Tim Duncan, I think he's done, but he's still on there. Paul Millsap, Omar Sheik, Wesley Matthews. These are all very good rotation players. Also, Greg Monroe, who's really making a mark for himself now that Josh Smith is gone. A lot of these players could potentially go to New York if they can sign more than one.
The other thing you have to consider into all this is the fact that what are the odds that they're actually going to leave their teams, though, too? You can't just sit here and say, all right, these guys are good people to start going after, but they're free agents. You should start to be contacting them now instead of waiting until free agency starts so that you already have talk starting. And once free agency comes, you can start to build on that talk. You just have to start to show interest on these players before the
Rajon
offseason
Rondo
comes.
has already shown interest in wanting to become a Knick, as he said that he will sit down and meet with them. So there is a possibility there, but now that he's with Dallas, I can't really see that happening. Marc Gasol has been going around the league lately, whether he will be traded or not. And it looks like he won't be traded. But the question mark stands, will he stay in Memphis? Is he happy in Memphis? Looking at their record right now, possibly. They have a great record. They're doing very well this year. But is that enough to keep him from wanting to play along one of the game's greats, Carmelo Anthony? There are a lot of ifs and buts and oh, he won't leave and oh, he won't leave. But anything can really happen at this point in time. They traded J.R. Smith, Iman Shumpert. They're looking to trade Bargnani, Calderon, Austin Rivers. Everybody's being traded. Everybody's going different places. And it seems like this season is a good season to speculate that the Knicks could land a couple of good names.
Another thing looking at this is the history with Carmelo Anthony and players that have done really well with alongside Carmelo Anthony, and players that come to mind, the number one that comes to my mind is Kenny Martin when he was playing in Denver. So, in my opinion, right now, I would sit here and say, all right, who do I think would make a good fit with Carmelo? And I honestly think that they need to put a really decent forward that can play center or the power forward position with Melo. And then that means if Melo misses, you got a really dominant post player that can go after boards and be a force to reckon with down low.
I'm thinking DeAndre Jordan in that regard. He would be good there, but the odds of him leaving Los Angeles are very, very, very slim. You also have LaMarcus Aldridge, who I doubt he'll leave Portland. Marcus Saul, another one. Maybe they re-sign Amari Stoudemire.
No. Maybe they'll go after Boozer, but he's getting old too.
Boozer's also up there in age. Paul Millsap, maybe?
I highly doubt Millsap's leaving Atlanta, especially with the year they're having right now.
Fair enough. Omar Sheik.
That's a interesting idea to throw out there, him going to New York.
He is a very good big man. As you've seen his averages before Dwight Howard showed up. He was averaging about 12 and 13. Those are really good numbers.
Maybe he'd make a good fit underneath Carmelo Anthony.
And again, Wesley Matthews. Amir Johnson, also a free agent.
It'd be nice to see New York actually pick up more than just one position that they have strong talents in. Like, it'd be nice for them to try to grab a nice guard and then grab a really good post player.
For guards, I see Danny Green, but I doubt he will ever leave San Antonio.
And there are endless possibilities, but one thing we do know for sure, the Knicks are going to do something at the end of this season, whether it be an amazing off-season signing, whether it be getting the number one draft pick, anything could happen. Speaking of anything could happen, Austin Rivers.
Yeah, what is he doing in LA Clippers land now? Lob City?
Just playing under Coach Daddy Doc Rivers.
Yeah, we don't really understand that completely right now and how that whole thing came to be, but we do know that somehow the Clippers did decide that they were going to take a chance on Austin Rivers.
From what I know, from what I've read, from what I've heard, Austin Rivers is a defensive-minded guard, and the Los Angeles Clippers were looking to get a defensive-minded guard spark off the bench. After consideration and looking around, they believe that Austin Rivers would be a good fit. But will he be a good fit under Coach Doc Rivers?
That's a good question, and considering how he will actually fit in with the team, other questions arise is how will they arrange minutes and stuff like that so it doesn't look like there's any kind of family first comes into this, because it's kind of hard to look at something when you're playing for your dad and what the media might take it as, because you never know what someone's going to sit there and say, oh, he's being played this much because his dad decided to be nice and play him lots because that's his dad. He has to sort of be a great mindset coach, as he is, and be aware of how much he plays everybody. And he is a very fair coach. Training underneath of his father, that'll be very interesting, is how he will develop being a player for his father. That's what I'm interested in seeing as the time goes on with him spent in LA Clippers land.
I'm very curious to see how the minutes work out too, but when you look at who he has in front of him, like Chris Paul, are you really going to bench Chris Paul for Austin Rivers? No coach is going to do that, not even his own father. Like, I'm sorry, kid, but it's Chris Paul. What I'm interested in learning and seeing is how Austin Rivers, as you said, evolves as a player under his father and evolves as a player under the guidance of Chris Paul, the leadership of Blake Griffin, and that type of winning environment that he didn't really get in New Orleans. He's going to be doing a lot of growing, a lot of growing. What else can he
Development.
do? Yes, development.
Development under his father is going to be quite a scene at the end of this to see what the outcome is. That's the big, what everyone's sort of looking to see is how is this going to be, what's going to become of this?
I wasn't expecting him to go to the Clippers, honestly. Once he was traded to the Celtics, I thought that was his team.
I didn't know what was going on. All these moves are constantly happening. Players are moving around so quick right now.
3-team deals. Everybody's going everywhere.
Austin Rivers in the Clipperland. Lob City. Good for him, but I don't know how excited he must be. But we'll have to see how things work out for him.
They've always been on their separate paths throughout their careers, and now here they are.
Talking about paths, let's go to the 1970s finals between the LA Lakers and the New York Knicks. Willis Reed shocked the crowd by showing up for Game 7 against the Lakers after leaving in the fourth quarter of Game 5 with a deep thigh injury. Knicks won Game 5 but lost Game 6. No one knew whether or not he would play, and he showed up and won the opening tip against Wilt Chamberlain, scored the first 2 baskets of the game, and never scored a game. His presence inspired and gave his team mates enough confidence to win the game. The crowd also went wild when he walked onto the court. This, to me, is an excellent historical moment for the Knicks. So the Knicks fans, understand your team sucks and there is no nice way to put it. But remember, you will always have the time when you were the champs, and one day you will make it back. As for now, I'm Ben Ross, with me Chad Kenny, and this has been your fix.